back. So let me bring you my first guest. Let's talk about what is playing out in the ADC. Before we brought you the political roundup stories, I did tell you that Mr. Adele Momodu, who is a member of the ADC, had raised some concerns and all of that. We'll build on to that. But let me bring in my guest, Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi, is the National Publicity Secretary of the African Democratic Congress. Mr. Abdullahi, thank you so much for coming on the program. Happy New Year and welcome back. That's how I'll put it.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Happy New Year.
So before we get to internal issues around the party, what I highlighted when we started, let's talk about your release a few days ago. That is on the backdrop of the Venezuela incident where Trump, there are so many names, abduction, pickup, all kinds of description given to what happened to Nicolas Maduro. But that is not the big issue here. Your concern from the presser you released, you're concerned about what you consider the silence of the federal government to speak at the world stage. You consider it embarrassing. Those were your words. Let me read a line of it. Let's be clear that the Nigerian government choice of silence in this moment has nothing to do with neutrality. It instead reveals a government that lacks confidence simply because it lacks legitimacy. Isn't that taking it too far?
I mean, it depends on what angle you are looking at it from. If you are looking at it from where we are standing, you'll probably agree with what we have said. If you are looking at it from the other side, of course, you will not agree. But what can be objectively seen today is that under this current administration, Nigeria has lost its stand as a leading voice on the African continent. As a matter of fact, as a leading voice in this West Africa sub-region. This is Nigeria that we're talking about, for God's sake. This is the Nigeria of Jaja Wachukwu. This is the Nigeria of Joseph Garba. This is the Nigeria where Nigerian leaders stand on the world stage and take clear positions on issues. Now, what happened last Saturday, it's a defining moment in international politics, the one that has serious implication for global world order since the Second World War. A sitting president can go in and just, so what we are saying is that other countries in the West Africa sub-region come out to say this is our position, whether most of them objecting to what happened in Venezuela. Now, it doesn't matter. Nigeria could say, okay, we see it differently and we are supporting it, or we agree with what other people are saying and we don't agree. But what have we seen? Nigeria is nowhere to be found. Nigeria has not said anything. If that does not embarrass you as a citizen, it embarrasses us. The diminution of Nigeria on the international stage is an anomaly, is an embarrassment, is not befitting of a country like ours that is a leader that should ordinarily be a leader of the African continent. And where is our president? The State House released a statement that our president was proceeding on holiday to Europe. I wonder which country now is called Europe. Then before they eventually told us that he was in Paris, obviously they were too ashamed to tell us that he was going to Paris originally. Now, where is our president? What is he saying about this? So all this are strange to us, is new to us as citizens. Let's put politics aside, if that is possible. But we are saying that as citizens, we feel embarrassed that all these things are happening and Nigeria has no voice in it. So now, to the question of whether what we said is too far, like you said, the only explanation we can find for Nigeria's absence, because there are brilliant people in government, there are people who know what to say under circumstances like this. Why are they not talking? Why are they not saying something? My brother Yusuf Tuga, the foreign affairs minister, is a brilliant man. He knows what to say under the circumstance. So why is Nigeria not saying anything? The only explanation for Nigeria's embarrassing silence at this time is that our government does not have the confidence, the self-confidence to say anything. Is that our government can sense its own vulnerability and therefore does not have the moral courage to come out to say anything publicly. That is the only explanation we can find.
So when you use the word, it lacks confidence simply because it lacks integrity. Is that what you mean? That the reason, as a build up to that as well, is the fact that could it be that the last time we spoke, Donald Trump came gun blazing? Remember that we went to the UN, the UNGA, representing the vice president representing our president, and made a statement about the two-party state situation in the Gaza Strip in Israel. And before long, we started seeing all of these things happening. Could it be that they are taking a very cautionary position because of what played out and the fact that bombs have even dropped on home soil?
No, but thank you. But bomb didn't just drop on home soil. If we believe what the federal government said they were the one who invited the Americans to drop the bomb. So if we believe them, it means that by inviting a foreign army to invade your country for whatever reason, or to drop bombs in your country for whatever reason, you have already rendered yourself vulnerable. Perhaps this is the reason they are not able to say anything. That is one side of it. Another side of it, and that's why we're talking about credibility. That's why we're talking about their inability to speak up is because they lack credibility. And credibility in this sense is that they have probably involved themselves in different kind of relationships, these different kind of activities that makes it difficult for them to come out and say, you know, it's like when you are honest, when you have confidence, you have courage, you know. But when you have things to hide, then you are unable to speak. Like my West African brother says, if you have food in your mouth, you cannot speak. You know, so but for us, for whatever explanation you can find, for us it's an embarrassment that our country is not able to speak out at this time.
All right, Mr. Abdullahi. So let's move on from that to come to the ADC. Before I raise the question that's been raised by Chief Momodu, there's a book I always like to refer to. It's a great book, Managing for Performance by Pam Jones. And one of the things I learned from that book is the growth and developmental stages of every team. So it says, when people come together, it's called the forming stage. Then, of course, when heritages conflict, then we have the storming stage. Before they normalize, called the norming stage. Before they can actually start performing, called the performing stage. And if it's a project that has to end, the adjourning stage. So forming, storming, norming, performing, adjourning. I want to understand where the ADC is now, because an aggregation, a coalition. The forming stage is here, where pleasantries are exchanged. Are we already in the storming stage? Where are we?
Well, I mean, I am not familiar with the framework that you have laid out before me, so I wouldn't try to even try to use it. But what I am saying is that there's nothing happening in ADC today that is unusual. I mean, we are happy that different people are coming into our party and that our party is strong enough to attract, or found to be viable enough to attract the kind of people that are coming into the party as in the coalition was announced. So we are delighted to see that. Then, as a matter of principle, what is the role of a political party? It's also to aggregate conflicting interests, you know, to create opportunities for people to contest election, and then to pursue their political ambition. Then the political party's business is to aggregate all these conflicting interests, and that's what we see. So for us, we are not bothered at all. The most important duty that we have as political party is to ensure that we provide a level playground for every single person that seeks to use the ADC to pursue their political ambition, and insist that everybody play by the rule. Because we've seen what has happened to other political parties. Yes, I mean, let's take, I don't want to. So if you hack back on what has happened, you can see that the internal contradictions and the lack of discipline that has undermined some of these political parties. But we have learned from all that, and we are saying that, and every single member of the ADC knows today that nothing has been determined, regardless of what anybody looking from the outside might say. So the fact that people are coming in means that they are confident that there is that opportunity for everyone to aspire to be anything. No conversation is going on at the moment about who will be the flag bearer of the party, or who will be running mate to who. Every single issues have not been resolved regarding the who will fly the flag of the party in 2027. But when that time comes, we are going to have a position. And our first recourse will be to try to engineer a measure of consensus based on the challenges that we have ahead of us. We are building a coalition, and we are building a winning coalition. And if that doesn't happen, of course, we are going to have a competitive primaries, and it's going to be free, it's going to be open, and it's going to be transparent, and every Nigerian will see that this is the direction that ADC wants to go, as a party of rules, as a party that is transparent, that obeys its own laws and regulation.
Mr. Abdullah, the intent of mainstreaming opposition is the fact that it's important for a robust democracy to have credible opposition. So it's always important we check exactly what is going on with the opposition. I'll read a line of what Mr. Dele Momodu, Chief Dele Momodu said, and then I'll ask my question. He said, but in recent time, he said a couple of other things. But in recent times, some groups have introduced aggression and rambunctiousness into fledgling cooperation and collaboration of all. How can a coalition work if some groups insist they must produce the top ticket by donation or coronation without election or persuasion? Why unleash tantrums and expletives on one another as if one group can win national election without others? His warning here is to the effect that he even mentioned the name of Nyesom Wike and the PDP. So my question will be, it looks like the pleasantries seem to be close to over. So this interest wrangling may have begun, which is not strange. There's nothing strange about it. But the question would be, what are the guardrails to avoid falling into the pits of references that you may know?
I mean, for us, it's very straightforward. I mean, the people who are saying this are convinced about what they are saying. So fine, it's okay. It's okay for anybody to say, oh, if this person doesn't get it, then they are no longer interested. Okay, that is fine. But what matters most is what the party is saying. And what the party is saying is that we are going to be open, we are going to be transparent, and we are going to engage every single stakeholder honestly, openly, and transparently. And that's what matters. I mean, the people saying what they are saying, they also know that there is an extent to which you can demand democracy and also demand that something should be done undemocratically. But sometimes passion overcomes this kind of objective analysis and is allowed. It's like a football fan. Political supporters also sometimes behave like that. That is fine, no problem. I mean, for us as a party, that's part of our duty to accommodate all these and aggregate all these various tendencies and feelings. I've read Chief Dele Momodu's comments, and I think he's very good, and I think he's useful. So there's no problem at all.
Well, I like it when politicians dismiss whatever the challenges are. It's the usual rhetoric we hear, but we'll continue to interrogate these issues. But let me even dig even further as far as the conversation around your party is concerned. I'm looking through the list of everybody that is in that party. So we have one of the, Atiku Abubakar has been trying to be president since 1993. That should make it over 30 years plus. This is 2026. So that should make it close to 32 plus years. And we have new entrants into the arena of presidential run. The likes of Rotimi Amechi, who did well in the primaries of the APC. The likes of Peter Obi, who did well as somebody who doesn't have a structure in that sense in the last election. So, but I think politicians take, and the people perhaps take the political parties serious when they see result. When should we be expecting result? Because as of last year, the excuse was to the effect that this is a new party, they are trying to still aggregate. Policy documents are really not out and all of that. But we have an off-cycle election coming in Ekiti, in Osun State. When should we be seeing the impact so that people can say, okay, I think it's time to look in the direction of the ADC for those who want to?
I mean, there are two ways to look at it. How a political party performs at election, and we are focused on that. And what we said about the previous elections, we said it very seriously because some of these elections came too soon for us. But we are committed to doing very well in the next elections. We are committed to doing very well in Ekiti, in Osun, and of course the FCT in February. We are getting ready. We are doing everything possible to win those elections. So but more significantly, which is the other side that I'm saying, is that anyone that wants to join, who wants to join a political party at this time in Nigeria, should know that the responsibility, the duty that we have is to our country. We look at what is happening or what has happened in the last 2.5 years or 3 years, sorry, look at the last 3 years and ask ourselves, is this really Nigeria? Is this really our country? Can we really afford to continue like this? So all the issues are there. And every single person who has a role to play know what to do. They know that, and like we have always said, is either you are with the ruling party, and if you are with the ruling party, of course, you don't want this to end. You are part of the gravy train, you are happy. But if you are not part of that, you are on the side of the people, and you see what the country is being put through, then you know where to belong. And ADC today, we are delighted that is the main opposition party, is perhaps the only option that is left that has the strength and the legitimacy to be able to provide alternatives to Nigerians. So that's how it's going to play out. But without prejudice to all that, I'm saying that the next coming elections, you are going to see us performing very well. The situation, you will see what will happen in these elections that you have mentioned. Especially we are coming to FCT and Osun and Ekiti, and you'll see what will happen.
Yes, the FCT election, I think it's the council election. It's about, I think, next month. INEC should be conducting that election. All of the interests are gearing up. And we're building up to the point where we'll see timetable by INEC and all of the fireworks will begin. So I have discovered in observing what has been playing out, I'm trying in this conversation with you not to go to policy issues, just stay with the politics. But if we have to go to policy, I will try my best to go there. If you look at what I think the APC is going to put out, which is something we're all familiar with, you're familiar with, because you have to be familiar with it to counter it. Some look good, some look debatable, some are outrightly poor, depending on what data and what sets you're looking at. But it looks like the conversation now is about, I watch a movie called How to Get Away with Murder. They say, discredit the witness, create reasonable doubt, control the narrative. So it looks like right now the attention is on the individual makeup of your political party as to how they performed previously. That's what I mean by discredit the witness in this narrative. Is there validity in some of the things they are saying and pulling up? Because some will say some of the members of the ADC, for instance, who were governors, could not deliver the party to them. Other parties won. Some said the governors did not perform well. Some are saying the other ones are perpetual contestants. There are so many things. But what do you make of it?
Okay, I'll answer that question by asking you another question. Who was the governor of Delta at the time of the last election? Ifeanyi Okowa, right? He was the governor of Delta at the time of the last election. But Peter Obi won in Delta State, didn't he?
He did.
Edo State was under APC at the time. Peter Obi won in that state or not? He did. Lagos State was an APC. In fact, that's where the incumbent, President Bola Tinubu, came from. And Peter Obi won in Lagos State. So what I'm saying is that all these things about, somebody, he did not because we don't have a governor or something, it does not follow. At this time, what is clear, and that is the point I'm making, you can continue to cherry pick, you can continue to single or isolate individuals and say, they have done this in the past, you have not done this. Who among the political class from 1960 up to today can you isolate and say this person is an angel? Or this person, and we are not going to say because people have done some things in the past, then we're not going to move forward with the task of building our country. We're not going to bring new politicians from another country. We're not going to manufacture a new set of politicians overnight. It's the same politicians who have placed politics in Nigeria that are coming together to say, we want to be part of finding solution to this. And you can begin to say, but look at you have done this in the past. Okay, yes, they have done that in the past. But does that negate the fact that our country today is in desperate need of rescue, and everybody that has anything to contribute is agreeing to come together to say, regardless of what we have done in the past, this is an opportunity for us to take our country back. In the first place, you can only play politics when you have a country. But look at our country today. Some days back, we all saw what happened. America coming to drop bomb in Nigeria, and we all say, okay, maybe something is happening. But you saw what happened in Niger State two days ago. So is this our country? But more importantly, All this thing you can say is not just happening now. It happened in 2014, it happened in 2015 when President Jonathan was here. But President Jonathan did not abandon the country in the midst of all that. He did not run away. He did not go on holiday while all that is happening. So that is a critical difference. The question you ask yourself is whether...
Mr. Abdullahi, one of the things, if you hear them talk, the APC, for instance, they said, Nigeria is lucky to have a president like Bola Tinubu. When you hear that, what comes to your mind?
Nigeria is lucky? Maybe what comes to my mind is I will probably go and check the meaning of luck again. Maybe luck now has a different meaning. Because what I know is that the kind of situation, the kind of hardship that Nigerians are faced with today is unprecedented. But more importantly, is the denial of the reality of the majority of the people. Every single record, every single assessment has said Nigeria is not going in the right direction. And they keep telling us no. They say, no, the economy is doing well. No, you are not hungry. Don't worry. Even if you are hungry, don't worry. Just a little more. Something will happen. And this is year 3. Year 3, they are still talking as if they are celebrating the last election. Year 3, they are still talking about they are still campaigning, making promises, as if they were not the one in power in the last 3 years. But more importantly is the lack of sensitivity, the lack of, it is mind-bending, the lack of care about what the people are going through. Look at this tax. We said, you guys, apart from, we are not ignoring the fundamental of whether it is conscionable for a government that has put the people through what they have put them through in the last 3 years to now be adding the burden of taxation to the life of the people. And by the way, all kinds of lies have been told to Nigerians about who is going to pay these taxes and who is not going to pay. They keep telling us, oh, actually, the poor will not pay. But we know that it's all lies. By the time they begin to take this money, Nigerians will know who is actually stealing from them. That is one. 2, we said this is the first time that the National Assembly will pass a law and the president will sign that law and they will go ahead and forge a different law entirely and insert new clauses without the knowledge of the National Assembly, and they will post that as the gazetted law that have been passed by the legislature. That is a criminal offense, and it is only a government like this that can do something like that. But unfortunately, the National Assembly, what did they do? Okay, let's reconcile. Let us look at what we have done. Let us reconcile it to what you have done. Okay, it is now clean. Now we can go ahead and implement. I mean, at the end of the day, you ask yourself, do we really want to build a country that is based on the principles of rule of law, that is based on the Constitution of Nigeria, that there are lines that individuals, no matter how highly placed, cannot cross? All the countries we aspire to be like, they are built on laws, that there are laws that nobody can cross. But in this country, it appears that under this administration, people can get away with anything because they think Nigerians have become so cynical.
Let me come in. I just have about, my apologies, I just have about 2 more minutes to wrap up this segment. And I think, if I heard the APC correctly, and I think we can all agree, they admitted as well, that the policy of government, especially those policies that, you know, subsidies removal on whether electricities, PMS and FX, has brought Nigerians into unprecedented hardship. But they said this unprecedented hardship is necessary for the future. But this is where I'm going to. If peradventure the ADC wins the presidential election in 2027, what is a quick action to restore joy in the hearts of Nigerians? Is there any plan like that? If you can answer it in 1 minute.
Of course there is a plan like that, and I can tell you here that by next week we are inaugurating our committees that will outline all the policies and programs that ADC will use to sell itself to Nigerians. And top of the agenda is how to make life better for Nigerians, how to make life easier for Nigerians, and how to ease these difficulties. I don't want to start telling you my opinion, because I'm not speaking for myself, I'm speaking for the party. But what I can tell you that what ADC is insisting on is that Nigeria cannot continue like this. Nigerians cannot continue like this. No light at the end of the tunnel can justify this pitch blackness that has blinded everybody. so to say. So they said they had to apply shock therapy to the economy, but what they are doing is not shock. They have electrocuted everybody. So this is no longer shock, it's electrocution.
I said I'm not going to go into the policy, so I'll just talk politics. But I must thank you so much for holding your own. And the fireworks will begin soon in the nearest future, and we're going to have all of you debating over policy ideas on how to make Nigeria better. We're here to moderate those sessions. But I must thank you. Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi is the National Publicity Secretary of the African Democratic Congress and also a former Minister of the Federal Republic. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Thank you. Have a good evening.